Hey guys, and welcome to this explanatory video. Today I want to talk about the election campaign in the US and in Germany and how it all works. So this is my structure. At first I'm going to tell you some background information about the US election, then the whole process. The third point is going to be some background information about Germany, and after that the process of the election. At the end I'm going to show you the conclusion. As you guys know or heard, the election for the president of the US happens every 4 years on the very first Tuesday. This year is time to vote, fellas. November 3rd. Months before the election even started, the candidates preparing and presenting their ideas to the voters and trying to deliver their messages by using social media, public events, or written materials. So you guys heard about Donald Trump, right? The current president since 20th of January 2017, but won the election on 8th November 2016. Can you believe that? Yeah, me too. Anyways, so he's also the 45th president of the United States. And what is this dude doing now? Running for this election today and trying so hard to continue to be president, but Joe Biden is kicking his ass though, for being an opposing candidate. Oh, and by the way, Joe Biden was the 47th vice president of the US. So he's kinda a big deal, right? I mean, he knows some shit. Okay, so Donald Trump is a Republican. The Republican Party, led by Raanya McDaniel, was a couple years ago liberal, but nowadays it is conservative, which means they're getting on distant, not like the Democratic Party, while this party is more open for new things like cultures. And also it hosted by Tom Paris and of course supported by Joe Biden. So the conditions of becoming a president are: you have to be at least 35 years old, you need to be a national-born citizen of the United States, and you have to be a resident of the United States for 14 years. The primary and caucus, there are a lot of candidates who are running for the position as the new president. Each one of them has his or her own thoughts of a professional and a good working government. People with the same point of view are members of the same political party. This is where the primaries and caucus are getting along. Candidates from each political party campaign throughout the country to win the encouragement of the party members. So caucus means that the party members vote for the best candidate through a discussion and votes. In a primary, the party members vote also for the best candidate that will represent them in the general election. Now to the national conventions. Every party holds national conventions to finish the selection of one presidential nominee. After that, the presidential candidate chooses a running mate, a vice presidential candidate. The general election. The presidential candidates campaign throughout the country in a way to try to win the support of the general population. The people in every state across the country are going to vote for one president and one vice president. And the last step is the electoral college. In the electoral college system, each state gets a certain number of electors. Electors means when people cast their vote, they are voting for a group of people who gets called as electors. So the number based on its total number of representatives in the Congress. The candidate that gets more than the half wins the election. The president-elect and the vice president-elect take their position in the office and are inaugurated in January. Now let's switch it up to Germany. So basically the conditions in Germany are: you have to be at least 40 years old, you need to be born citizen in Germany, and you need to have the right to vote in the Bundestag. You have the right to vote if you're 18 or older, have lived in Germany for at least 3 months, and if you're not excluded from voting. As an example, if you're sentenced, that means the passive right to vote. If someone committed a crime and be sentenced for imprisonment, your right to vote doesn't apply for 5 years. The voting is usually done on election day between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. at the polling station. Coming now to the process of the election campaign in Germany. The president of the German Bundestag is calling the session of the federal. He is responsible for the preparation of the meeting. Each member of the Federal Assembly may propose candidates for the office of the Federal Assembly. The federal president is elected by the Federal Assembly by secret ballot for 5 years. In the election, a candidate must have an absolute majority of the members of the Federal Assembly in the first or second ballot. If no candidate can be successful in the 2 ballots, a relative majority is enough in the 3rd ballot. The elected person must announce within 2 days whether he will accept the election. What you should definitely remember is that the election of the United States happens every 4 years. The difference between primaries and caucus is that the primary party remembers voting for the best candidate and he will go straight to the general election to represent their ideas, in which the caucus party members vote a candidate through a series of discussions. Voters of each state gets a certain number of electors based on the number of representatives. The federal president is elected for 5 years. The president of the Bundestag is the administrator of the election. The candidates need to reach the absolute majority. If not, they just need to reach the relative majority at the 3rd ballot. That was my explanatory video. Thanks for listening, guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and if you have any questions, let me know. See you. Bye.